Hello and welcome to the Bee Formless Flow Driven CEO podcast. All the way from Malaysia, I am welcoming Wai Bee Lian. Welcome, Wai Bee.
Hello. Hi,
So,
everyone.
hello, how are you?
I'm good. How about you?
Yeah, I'm really good. And I love that we've both got bee in our name because you do
Yeah.
absolutely need bees in this world. So that's it's quite cool that we've both got a bit of bee in us.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
I'm super thrilled to have you here today and to chat. There's sounds like we've got a lot to cover off, and I'll just call out a few things first and foremost, way B, but then I'm going to hand it over to you because just having a quick chat to you just before I hit record, it sounds like you've been on quite the journey, and the book you've written in particular is something that is close to my heart and so many women and men in the world. But wait, B, so you're a marketing consultant, you have your own business, 360 marketing. You were previously in the corporate world. I'll let you explain that. And you're kind of almost, I wouldn't say you're in transition, but obviously your background is marketing consulting and that's what you're doing, but you're also, training to be a transformation coach as well. You're also a very successful author in your own right, where you published a book. Was it in 2023 or published in 2024?
Last year, 24.
24, which is all around embracing imperfection. And I'm really kind of curious how you came to write a book, how you left corporate life, and the transition you're in right now. So tell us a little bit about your journey. Yeah, we're really interested to hear all about it.
Yeah, thanks so much, B. So it's nice. Thank you so much, first of all, for inviting me to this session, this sharing session with you. So allow me to introduce myself. My name is Wai Bee. I'm from Malaysia. So I was in a corporate for almost 3 decades as a marketer. So naturally, I was like in a different industry of marketing. So I was covering automotive, insurance, telecommunication. Those are the few industry that I was in. The last before I left was I was the head of marketing for one of the insurance company in Malaysia. So I left corporate end of 23. And at that point of time, the intention is I wanted to be on my own and run my own marketing consultancy company by the name of 360 Marketing. And in between, what happened was that I was also a mentor for one of the NGO that mentor young women leaders. So that led me to actually author a book, or rather publish a book last year by the name of Embracing Imperfections. Yeah, so I realized that no matter whatever era that you are in, whether you're in the 20s, 30s, 40s, even 60s, different ladies will have different struggle in their life. And the most common one is about not being, I am not good enough. That's a stigma that I always hear. The imposter syndrome, I am doing so much, nobody appreciate me. I felt like I am alone in this journey. Those are some of the so-called conversation that I hear while I was mentoring the young girls, communicating with the women of different life stages. So therefore, it kind of like motivate me to write a book. And one thing interesting is that I've actually incorporated a real life stories of 4 different women in the book as well. So reason being because I feel like if we have real life stories, the readers can relate it better into their own life as well. And I hope through these stories, it will also remind the ladies who read the book that they are not alone in whatever struggles, life challenges that they're going through. So that is the intention. So I did not expect that the book had good response, good feedback. Many women actually came forward, and be it in their 20s, 30s, 30s, 40s, even 50s or even 60s, came forward and share about different life struggles that they're going through. And so by allowing them to share their stories, the whole idea is to allow them to also dig deeper what has been hidden in them, right? For them to just pick it out, and they will find clarity when they start voicing out what are the challenges that they're going through. It could be like they have been keeping it for more than 10 years, 20 years, right? So that's one part of that happened. And actually, just for information, because of the book that I published, I was actually asked by most of my friends, they asked me, how do I get started? Hey, YB, how do you get started with writing the book? And then I actually conducted book writing workshop as well.
Oh, wow.
And through that journey, I taught them how to get started to write up to the publishing and how to market your book because I am applying my knowledge, my background as a marketing to also create awareness and visibility for the book.
Mm,
So it's also about discovering themselves. Even I am discovering myself when I was writing the book. It's also for me, I realized that it also has been like a healing journey. Probably something that happened to me previously that I have been keeping it for in my heart without me sharing it with anybody. So I felt like this is my healing journey. And through the book workshop that I have conducted, there are many women. I mean, there are men and male and female. Some male are very much, they want to write about leadership. They want to write about motivation, leadership, a more professional kind of content of the book. But some women, they wanted to write about their journey, their life journey.
yeah.
And during one of the workshops that I did, actually, it became so emotional that one of them started crying.
Oh, wow.
That is like a discovery for me. I realized that this space allowed them to actually really express themselves through writing,
Yeah.
like expressing what is in them through writing. So that is something that I discovered, and I really love the journey. And I thought, I'm going to continue doing this book writing workshop to allow people from different walks of life to realize their own talent, to share about their own stories. And one of them, I realized she started posted on LinkedIn, and I think while she wrote a book, writing her book, she is also talking about her personal journey in LinkedIn. I realized that there was a lot of traction for her post that she posted
Mm,
because of her own experience, her own as a mother, what are the journey that she went through raising a child. So when I look at her posts in LinkedIn, I saw that there were so many parents that can relate to her story and started to
yeah.
meditate. Thank you for voicing your challenges that you went through. I
Yeah.
can relate to your story. Those are things that, we never spoke about it, but I realized that when we started writing it down, telling our journey, our vulnerability, there are a lot of people, the community that can relate to the story about whatever that you are going through. So there is something like a awakening or really a realization for me that, it is a space probably I was being called to nurture these stories from those whoever who those aspiring authors, right? So that's one part of it. And my marketing journey helped me.
Can we just pause there before we jumped into the marketing? Because I know you're going to talk about your marketing journey and how it helped, but I do feel like we have to pause for a minute and acknowledge what a beautiful gift you have and what a beautiful gift the calling that you received to one, share your own lived experiences, but also helping or empowering other women to share their own lived experiences. And what I love about this and what we're connecting on here is that, you talked out, and I'm not separating men and women at all, but you talked about men, they generally like to write about leadership. But, I always talk about it from a life leadership and business perspective, because if you think about us all, everything comes from within, right? So we have to go deep within to understand, well, what's holding us back? Why are we trying to perfect everything? We can't fill ourselves up from outside. It starts from the inside out. And so that for me is that inside out transformation. And hearing you and listening to you, we don't probably, especially in Australia, and I'd love your thoughts on this from a cultural background and from Malaysia, that in Australia, there's very much a tall poppy syndrome. And so quite often it's like just get on with it. Like, sure, we're talking more and more about embracing this vulnerability, but, quite often on LinkedIn, all you'll see is, or on social media, is you'll see the good stuff and you don't quite often see the struggles. And I guess I personally struggle with that at times because, whenever I'm going through a struggle or what I call a bit of survival mode, the last thing I want to do is go on to the likes of LinkedIn and read all these puffery type, forms of posting and communication because it makes me just feel you called it out, but I have this imposter syndrome. I feel like I'm not worthy. Why am I going through this? And it's not a victim mindset as such. It's just more, I don't feel like I have a seat at that table because at the moment I'm in a bit of a struggle phase and I'm going through a season or I'm sitting with myself right now. I'm working through what is it that I need to uncover or illuminate to be able to let go of to be able to move forward or bounce forward. And that for me, that's practicing that imperfection, right? You
Yeah.
know, um, and so I'd love your thoughts on that because I think that, like what
Yeah.
you're unraveling here is quite amazing.
Yeah, probably maybe I could share my own personal journey.
Yeah.
I have wanted to write a book like since 2017. The reason why I remember is that because the date is 23rd July 2017, I posted in Facebook that I'm going to be the upcoming book author. And but while I was writing the book at that point of time, I was like, probably I've written a few chapters and then I kind of like stopped because like the worthiness, the self-worth, whether I am good enough, that kicks in where I was questioning myself, who am I to write a book? Who is going to read my book, whether is it a good book, and being first time author, what happened if people start criticizing about the book, those kind of thought that I had. That was back in July 2017. So last year, what happened was that, and it relates to the title of my book, but I am reminding myself that I am not perfect. So the title of the book is Embracing Imperfection. So despite being a not feeling good about myself that I am able to at least become an author of a book. So I started to ponder and think, how could I, like you mentioned, is about working inward rather than working outward. We can see, out in the social media, people talk about their achievement, their successes, whatever the positive part of it they're going through, but they never really go deep dive into behind the scene what are the challenges, what are the struggles that they are going through. I mean, like you, even myself, I have my own, I become the critic, the self-critic myself, criticizing my capability, criticizing how good I am, right? So despite that, I decided that no matter what, I am going to complete the book, publish the book, and launch the book last year. And yeah, so I talk about the self-imposter syndrome, the struggles that I went through myself being introverted. I am an introvert, and my voices are not being heard most of the time because I speak quite softly. I'm not a very loud person. I am soft, but I know that within me, I am firm and I do know what I wanted to achieve, right? So, and then to make it even more interesting, I realized that I need to incorporate some real life stories into the book because that could really allow people to realize whatever you see in the success, whatever you see, who they are, what they are, is because of their background, whatever that they have gone through. Right? Somebody who could be like a very fierce mama because she was being belittled when she was young. In the Asian context, women, Asian culture is that, I mean, back my days, because I'm in the 50s now. So the women back then was like, your role, women, girl, in future, you're going to marry a good husband. Your role is to become a good housewife, make
Yeah.
sure that you take care of your household, those kind of mentality or mindset. So she was never given an opportunity to grow in her career, her personal ambitions, so on and so forth. So what happened? Her first marriage failed, and she had in a abusive marriage. So
Mm.
she thank God she managed to get the support from her father to so-called escape from the marriage, right? So, but now a lot of people, the impression that a lot of people, she had a nickname as a tiger mama.
Ah,
You know why? Because what she have gone through is like she needs to put on that
sad.
starch, firm, strong, loud. To when I was reflecting this, I realized that, we are really not able to judge other people because of the background that they have gone through that mold them to become who they are today. So I am reminded because I tend to judge somebody sometime, right? But I keep reminding myself that through this journey, I realized that we are all have our own journey, our own path that we went through, and everything starts inside out. You are who you are because of what you have gone through, and that's how you portray yourself to the world,
It's so true.
right?
It's so true. And I also think that, again, you've just tapped into something really, like, I guess not raw, but yeah, sort of raw for me in terms of, like, when it comes to this perfection and practicing imperfection, that we compare. Like, we've all faced some forms of adversity and some more than others. And, we pick ourselves up day in, day out. But there comes times where you're like, why am I on this journey? Why is this all happening to me? And why aren't I where I should be? And then the expectations and the conversations that your mind has with you, where it's saying to you, you should be further ahead. You should be here, not here. And you start to almost critique yourself because you're the expectation of what you expected or thought is not the reality. And so for me, that's been a massive journey for myself to go through, and this whole hence of the whole formless piece, because I'm like, some days I'm like, and I'm kind of going through it a little bit at the moment. I'm like, I'm not where I thought I would be right yet. And I'm almost like wanting to be there, but the universe or the inner me is still going deeper and deeper. And I'm like, how much more deeper do I have to go? How many more layers do I have to unravel and unpack? How much more, forms of adversity do I have to face? Because it feels like it's never ending. And so I've got this kind of, I don't know what it's a battle. I've got an internal battle going on with myself at the moment because there's one part of me that's like, we're going deeper, whether you like it or not. We're going to go deeper. We're doing the soul searching. We're still unraveling. But then the other part of me, ego, if you like, is going, I'm done with that. I don't want to do any more of that. I want to just get to the next destination. And so that's that for me. That is it a dance, or is it like a whole, like there's perfection and imperfection? The two are like almost playing it out, and it's like, who's going to win? Does that make sense to you, what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, I can definitely relate to that. Even myself, I was thinking, how much success that I can have, right? So it's like I have completed this, and this is another level that I need to go through and all those things. But to a certain extent, I kind of like have different perspective after the journey that I have went through last year and communicating with different women.
Yeah.
I realized that a lot of time our definition of success is varies, and a lot of time I mean I'm just self-examining myself, and I realized that probably we were comparing ourselves with other people out there, looking at reading whatever article or whatever post that you see in the social media, looking at them, and then you realize that they have this huge amount of success that they have achieved. So who am I? Should I aim for that as well? But I think different all of us are going through different life journeys. How could we accept ourselves for who we are and be more we are the our worst enemy, I would say, because despite whatever that we have achieved, we still feel like we are not good enough. We can achieve more, we can get more and make us feel happier, but that's where the definition of success comes in. knowing that, we kind of like, I realized that I need to count my blessing and look back, how much I have achieved
Mm.
rather than looking at how much I have not achieved. When yeah, actually yesterday I was looking through, like, I was like pondering, now, is this already the month of June? I was thinking, what have I achieved for the past 5 months? So
Oh
I
gosh,
thought,
I was doing the same.
so I actually started writing down yesterday because I remind myself that I need to count my blessing. I need to look at what have I done, reminding myself rather than looking at the future and feel like I have not achieved anything. But I started to reverse it and look at what I have achieved for the past 5 months, or even since I launched the book, how has it also got change my mindset, change of my
Yeah.
thought processes. So I started writing down yesterday. I was like, okay, I have done this, I have done this. I'm kind of like tick off a lot of checklists. Then I realized, why am I self-sabotaging myself? In fact, I have done a lot of things that people are coming to me and say, hey, YB, you have done so much. I feel like I was inspired by you. I was like, really? I was like, okay, so that's where I realized that, we really need to count our blessing, remind ourselves not to be too hard on ourselves, and just write it down, and then we will reflect. And I realized that, okay, I have done so many sharing sessions for my book. And through just this journey, I've spoken to so many women out there. Isn't this an achievement for myself? It may not be in the form of monetary sometime, but in the form of self-fulfillment. I feel like I felt emotionally my tank is full because I was able to speak to so many women and be able to hear their story, and just be there to listen to their problem.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, in
It's so
fact,
beautiful that you're the way you're and you're I feel like we were meant to speak today. Like it was just like, like kind of needed this like almost like reality check, if you like, because
reality.
yeah, I've been doing a little bit the same. And I think that, in terms of it comes back to what I call inside out transformation, right? Success is so external. It's so, well, success at the moment is defined in such an external way. Like you say, it's all around materialism, it's around wealth, money, that sort of thing. And so when people don't see how you're succeeding from the inside. And so, we have our seasons, right? And if I look at my past 12 months in particular, it may not look like I've achieved a huge amount, but actually, when I kind of sit down and write it all out and what I've achieved in my business, what I've achieved myself personally as a leader, I've created so much. Well, I've grown as a person, completely grown. I'm not the person, I might look the same, but I'm certainly not the person I was 12 months ago. As for my business, I've created all this methodology, a lot of tools. Like it's almost like I had to go in to come back out now. And so, yeah, I think that's probably the biggest opportunity, I won't say challenge, opportunity, if you like, is how do we reshape what success means so that, like what you've been doing with your book, and maybe there's a book that comes out of this, but it's almost like we need to acknowledge, be able to sit and acknowledge success from what it means coming from within. Like we almost need to flip success around because success is outside in versus it being, well, hang on,
Inside.
success should be inside out. And I feel like that's something, there's a massive opportunity in this new world order that we're in and we're moving into, and especially as we're giving people more space and like you're doing, writing books and creating that space to be imperfect. I think that there's certain ways or terms of the old world that need to be reshaped as well as part of this. What's your thoughts on that?
For me, you rightly pointed out that, the definition of success, I have kind of re-evaluated my definition of success. So I'm looking at three areas: financial, health, and relationship with your family, relationship with your friends, relationship within your community, my health is equally important as well,
Yeah.
right? You know, so I'm looking at these three areas. So success, what does success mean to me? You know, I always reminded myself I am abundant in all aspect of my life, you know, not only financial. It is also about my health and my relationship with my family, my friends, my community. So instead of just looking at financial success, yeah, a lot of people have financial success, but deep down, I think a lot of them are not happy as well. I mean, from my observation, from my
Agree.
chat with a lot of people out there, you know, said financial doesn't define, yes, this person could be very successful financially, but you know, whether they are also having equally happy with their health, with their relationship, you know. So my definition, as I mentioned, it covers these three areas, you know, yeah, financial, relationship, and also health, my health.
I love that. It's whole being, right? It's wholesome. It's like for me, that's that mind, body, and soul connected all together as well. Tell me, YB, with regards to your book writing, do you, when you're teaching or coaching or training people on, how to write their own book and expressing themselves and getting it out, there's a whole science to, believe it or not, being able to write, like actually write like with a pen, that it creates more flow and it's more effortless and it gives you that ability to get out the ideas and what you want to get out. Do you get them to start with a pen and paper as a starting point?
Yeah.
And is
So during the workshop, I will really get them to start writing within the workshop itself rather than going back home. Then I ask them to write, and they're surprised they can write the title of the 15 chapters within 20 minutes, half an hour that I've given them. I said, ready now. I need you to write it down now. So just like that, they are able to write down the title of the chapters, right? At least you have a framework. As I mentioned, it doesn't need to be perfect, right? At least you have your version one is better than your version zero.
Yeah, I love that. Your version one is better than your version zero. That's amazing.
Yeah, so that's how, you know, really getting them to write it down there and there. And a lot of them were so surprised actually they could write down 15 chapters
Mm.
within the time that I've given them, you know. So it's all in our mind because the way we reframe our mind, saying that, you know, it's so difficult to write a book. You know, I felt I'm start writing a book. So what is more important about, you know, for me is really just get a pen and paper and just write it down. Don't judge yourself. Just write it
Mm.
down. A lot of time we are judging ourselves, feeling like, you know, I just couldn't write, I'm stuck. But actually you can write. Just give yourself the time and the space to just write it down and don't judge. It's
Yeah,
very important.
I love that. And do you get much resistance from people wanting just to type automatically, be given tech, given AI and everything else here in the world, and like it's always with us. Like, do you get any resistance to people wanting to use a pen and paper? Like, or is it pretty?
90% of them are okay. Some of maybe 10% of them they just wanted to use a laptop or whatever just to type it like, you know, in a phone or even in the laptop. Either way is fine, but as long as you are writing down your thought, right? You are writing down your thought processes. What do you envision your title, your chapters title? At least you kind of have a framework before you leave the workshop. And then from there you can further expand from there. At least you have written down the framework as first as a starting point, right? So yeah, most of them are able to write down the chapters, at least the first draft of the title of the chapters. I normally ask them to write 10 to 15 chapters, title of the chapters.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's kind of funny. I've been thinking about my own book, and I briefly mentioned it to you, and I've already started writing out the chapters in my head. Like in terms of, I kind of feel like there's about four chapters already there, but I haven't put it down on pen to paper just yet. But it's funny I think having that, it's almost like that. pattern, isn't it? It's a pattern recognition. It's almost like creating a pattern and kind of going, well, what are these chapters? To then start to connect the different chapters together and away you go. What other tips do you, or what other like do you have people start with? So you've said they write it down, get it out, write down the chapters, a title for the book. Is that your kind of
Title
yeah?
of the book, it will be the last part of it. So basically the topic, at least you have a topic, right? So but the title of the book can come later, like the end of the, once you completed the entire manuscript, you can now consider about the exact title of the book. Just basically write down the, at least the topic. What are the topic that you wanted to talk about for your book, right? The title will be like the final part of it, once you completed your manuscript. And I think the number one tips I have for everyone who wanted to write a book is about being consistent. It's about, if you could allocate half an hour, or you can allocate uh, half an hour or an hour a day to write,
Be consistent. I
be
love
consistent. So
Yeah,
it's
sorry, I
like
thought you were
a
going to say something
daily.
else then. Yeah, be consistent. No, you're so right with that regard. What do you think is the biggest opportunity then for women and when it comes to writing and sharing more about their stories? Like, do you think that there's a big job to be done still with the amount of women and men, I guess, if you like? How could we get men to be writing more and sharing more about their own lived experiences versus just leadership?
Um, in fact, actually, I was my first book is all about women, so I have actually spoken to male. I told them if I were to write the second book, I want to write about the male perspective. What their life stories from the male perspective. I
Mm,
have asked a number of male friends, and I believe women are more vulnerable compared to the men, and they seems to be like holding it back. They are not willing to be
share. Mm,
vulnerable. Yeah, compared to women who are more open and vulnerable compared to the men. So they are more comfortable on writing about more about the professional topic. It's
yeah,
not easy, so it's like, yeah, I have not found somebody that who are more willing to like really sit down and share about their personal story. They are, maybe I haven't found them yet, but yeah, I have spoken to few, and so far I have not got any yes yet.
that's okay. I'm sure that will come in time. And have you started thinking about what your next book is in terms of, so if this is about embracing imperfection, are you seeing something like is there a next book coming up anytime soon or
Not yet. As I mentioned, because I discovered that I also wanted to help
right,
other aspiring author to discover their own writing talent, or rather expressing themselves through the book, expressing their stories through the book. So I found that this journey is very interesting, and I really wanted to use this an opportunity or platform for them to also express what is in them. We need more healing. The community need more healing.
I
A lot of
agree.
people.
Yeah, I totally agree. We do. And so would that be your, just to wrap this pod up, would that be your last bit of wisdom that we need to be kinder to ourselves? What would be your
Yeah, be kind to ourselves, love ourselves more, and listen to our inner voice more than what is from the outer part of it. Yeah, from
Yeah,
the
love that.
external voice.
Yeah. Not the bad inner voice, the good inner voice. Listen to the bit
Yeah.
that's like telling you that you're amazing, that you can do this, and everything we've talked about. YB, how do we purchase your book?
The book is available in Amazon. Yeah, you can have the paperback or the Kindle version. It is available in Amazon. Yeah.
I'll share the link with everybody. Thank you so much for sharing your story and what you're doing for all the amazing women, I will say for now, and men in the world. And I loved having this chat with you tonight. Certainly, or today, you've certainly given me a good reminder as well around just embracing that imperfection and that we're all on our own journey and that we, more than anything, we have to give ourselves a bit of grace, don't we, as well? Like just to give ourselves that grace.
Yeah, we need to give ourselves more grace, more love.
More grace and more love. Oh, thank you, YB. I really have appreciated our chat tonight, and I look forward to reading your book soon.
Thank you so much for inviting me as well, so that we had this opportunity to really like share more and chat more. Yeah. Thank you so much, B.
No, thank you, YB, and we'll talk soon. Thank
Talk
you.
soon. Bye.
Bye.